Welcome to episode 160 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with hosts Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins.
Howdy.
Myself, Ben Wilson at Our Trading Cards. And then Tim Shepler is actually on vacation. So we have a pinch hitter tonight. Andrew with Bayside Breaks is back.
Wait a minute. So this is not the slabbed card investment podcast? I think I went on the wrong one.
It can be.
He's gone.
So we are a podcast by collectors for collectors, and we hope to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube.
10 Central, 1 Australian.
Facebook Live, Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at About the Cards. We are available as a podcast everywhere. Not just somewhere, but everywhere you can find a podcast. And you're welcome to check out our website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. There are 4 of us here tonight. We do have a special guest, Omar Cornelius of One of One MC. We'll let you know where you can find him at the end of the interview. Welcome, Omar. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've seen a little bit of your work. It's nice that you can meet with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. So you don't live in the United States. Where are you located geographically?
I am located in Australia, Brisbane.
Nice. What time is it there for those that don't know the time zones?
It's 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. Thursday. So it's probably Wednesday there right now, correct?
Mm-hmm. It is Wednesday night, correct? Yeah. We have a few friends that listen that live in Korea. So they're always right at the lunchtime. They're both teachers. So when they hop in, they're like, yeah, hey, I'm on my lunch break. So it's kind of cool. And they're on their lunch break tomorrow for us. So it's kind of neat to have you in Australia as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your hobby history, your foray into collecting, when you started, and all that good stuff?
So I started collecting, well, I think with anyone when you're young. And then I kind of just deviated it from when I was 12 years old, got back into it 18, but I was collecting comics and miscellaneous stuff. And then 7 years, Upper Deck came out with a series called UD Premier. It was a hockey series below the cup. And then that kind of brought me back into the hobby again. And I just collected. I never really did it for the investment part. I just more did it for the nostalgia, the keepsake, and kind of get as close as possible as I could to the player in a form of a trading card. So
go ahead.
Sorry. So that's where 7 years ago was kind of when I got back into it again. And then now I just collect very vintage cards, like cigarette cards, like tobacco cards from 1930s, 1940s.
Very nice.
So that's kind of my thing,
What was your most recent purchase? Vintage wise.
Vintage wise, this right here. The Kings and Queens of England.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So I believe it's from 1920.
Very nice. Kind of like a sticker book, but not.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what ended up happening is that they would stick the cards in the book, and then they would make their collection back in the day, and then this is how they displayed them.
That's pretty awesome.
My reason.
Yeah. So what you just said was a good segue into our next question for you, which is what or who do you collect, or how do you collect, kind of all encompassing there?
Oh God. So I think in regards from being from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, it's always been Edmonton Oilers.
Sure.
So Wayne Gretzky. Unfortunately, I don't have a Connor McDavid. I would love to get a Connor McDavid, but being in Australia, hockey's not a really big play of cards here, more or less. It's more AFL and rugby. And then growing up too, I've always had like the New Jersey Devils, and I think it was just the logo itself. It was just always attracted that logo.
So we're going to skip around a little bit. We were going to kind of get into what you do and where your thumbprint in the hobby is right now. But I want to kind of jump over that because you just mentioned it. You live in Australia. Yeah. What is the card industry like there? What is collecting like, from just we have a lot of friends in Canada that have a lot of issues with the Canadian Post and the additional cost it takes to get those cards over the border. So if you can just kind of tell us what is it like if we were to move to Australia tomorrow, how would our world be altered just by living there versus here?
First of all, the weather. it's too hot here, that's for sure. And then obviously the time zone. But in regards to the community and the card community and the collectors, it's really big. Shipping, I know a lot of the American market has a big factor here in regards to shipping cards back and forth in the community and everything else. I know there's a lot of transactions that happen through eBay. The cost of shipping, it's a little bit expensive, but it's the nature of the beast right now as well too. So it's just, and then COVID's been playing a big factor as well too, because it seems like when COVID hits, it gets delayed in shipping, and then it's instead of the standard 1 or 2 weeks of shipping, it takes 3 to 4 weeks, right? So I know there's been some issues with Canada and United States as well too in regards to shipping.
Definitely, and I know that for a while there, at least, USPS wasn't shipping to Australia. Everything was just put on hold. So I personally know that, the shipping's just a headache.
It can be, and COVID's obviously going to complicate things for everybody because of the way it's transferred from person to person, and the fact that right now in the U.S. we're having a serious shortage of willing workers. Everybody's like, oh, we created X amount of jobs last month. Technically, you just got jobs back that were lost over the past 15 months, but. Sure. The Postal Service, in the United States is running at a large deficit and trying to fix that. So that's going to be increased costs for all of us, but I can only imagine living not inside the United States, the frustrations we have. That's why it's always awesome to ask somebody that deals with that firsthand on the other side, So you're one of one MC. So if you want to explain to us what your products are and kind of where that idea came from at its inception, to give our listeners a better idea of the services that you offer.
So we make custom memorabilia cards. So essentially, I think growing up, we all wanted a card of ourselves. And then now with how they revamped the cards now with memorabilia, we can insert memorabilia in the card. So we design the cards with your athlete or your son, whoever the case may be, and then we insert a memorabilia material into the card. It's a perfect keepsake.
So that's cool. That it allows us, I imagine you would also do things like blankets or things like that if we wanted to do a non-sport type one, but still a relic that's unique to our child.
Yeah, correct. So we've done that baby card, that little rookies. I literally just put it on the site yesterday, and it went viral.
Wow!
I was surprised and shocked, but that was their baby bracelet.
Gotcha. I was just about to ask what that was for the people not watching or who are older and have bad eyesight. That's one of those things. You have this ankle bracelet or whatever. From the hospital that you keep, and most of us put it in a baby book as a commemorative keepsake, but you can't really appreciate it. What's really neat about this idea is I can have that slabbed for my wife, in a relic, and now she can enjoy it up on the wall a little differently than in a baby book.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of having it in a closet or in your storage, you can literally put it on your desk at work, or you can have it framed as well too, or you just said slab it and then display it somewhere within the living room, so you're always looking at it as well too.
Yeah, it's a neat one-off, a way for us to kind of put something up on the refrigerator, so to speak, that our child has done at school. This is a way for us to whether it's a baby blanket or a piece of a baseball or a mitt or something that we can get inside the card, which brings up a good question: is how thick of a relic can you make? If I wanted to send you a piece of T-shirt, that should be easy enough. But if I wanted to slice up something a little thicker, what's my limitation?
So right now we're doing 260 points, so 6 mil thick, but I can get thicker depending on the material too as well. So the 260 pretty much accommodates everything that we have inserted in the card so far to this day.
Gotcha.
We haven't had any issues so far, but if you need something a little bit thicker, let's just say hypothetically the bottom of your shoe is quite thick, we can insert that in the card, so then we can just bump up the thickness of the card too.
Gotcha. Now, what is the most interesting request you guys have had thus far?
Oh God. So we had one individual reach out to us, and he wanted to do wedding invitations as the cards, and he asked to put his cricket jersey into it. But I don't think his wife was too happy with that idea.
he brings in this huge box. Honey, I got the invitations. And she's like, I didn't ask you to. But I did it. What are they? And he's like, look how awesome this is. He's like, yeah, for like 6 of our friends, honey. Not happening.
Yeah. Those right there, those cards were a 5th year anniversary. And they got 24 cards made up. And then she just had a bunch of pictures, and we just designed them, and then we inserted them. That hero is up yesterday, right there to the left top corner. If you scroll.
Yep.
Yeah. He's an author here in Australia, and he did. Do I have the book on me? No, I don't. He would travel the country and started interviewing all these rugby players and put a book together. So him and I did a collaboration where we made some cards for his release. And then we had 6 cards made up, and he signed all 6 of them. And then
Nice.
So that was cool. That was really cool. The memorabilia material in there is a old piece of a rugby ball. Well, it's a piece of leather that's supposed to represent it.
That's cool. Now, if I wanted to get a cup of a used Whataburger cup from Steph and have it made for his, his birthday, what would I do? What all do you need from us as a consumer to provide you with everything that you'll need to produce this? Just a basic relic card of, say, a jersey, for instance.
So you just head over to our website, www.oneofonemc.com. You select your template. You fill out the information. We do have an option where we can provide you a free memorabilia material. Let's just say hypothetically a baseball or a bat. We can provide that. But if you want to provide your own that has a significant meaning to a historical moment in a child's life, like his first home run ball, you can ship that over to us, and then we'll take care of the rest. We'll cut it up, insert it in the card, and then ship it back to you.
What would the cost of that be? And if I've got to send you something, obviously there's an associated cost with the post office. But just to have you now have this baseball in hand, you now have a picture of my son Bentley, and we want this to be in a relic for him to enjoy. What are we looking at as far as a price goes?
So it's $45, and that includes shipping as well too.
Oh wow!
So I just want to be. These cards are geared for kids.
Sure.
And they're meant for kids, right?
I'm one.
Yeah. And I think it's like, this is my way of making a difference in society, is when you see a kid who gets a card of himself and he sits back and he's literally speechless, like that means the world to me. I've had suggestions to like raise them, you can charge more, but it defeats the purpose. The whole idea is to make cards for kids, keep kids happy, have them still engaged into the community, the hobby, and everything else as well too, right? So that's why that cost is $45, includes shipping. I know I could charge more, but there's no point. Like, this is my passion, this is my hobby, and I enjoy what I do. And I think it's a fair price.
I'm 42, and I'll be 100% honest with you. Have you ever seen the U.S. version of The Office?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so there's a scene when Dwight becomes the bobblehead. Angela has him made into the bobblehead, and he's so excited. I'm the bobblehead. When I saw this idea, it's like, I think the kid in all of us is like, hey, wait a minute. For $45, I'm the baseball card. I can't. I know you're selling this to kids, but it's like I got little league pictures of myself too. I got an old jersey. Do I want to? I think what your idea does is it reaches into the child in all of us and brings it back to a simpler time and allows us to, whether it's our own little league and we want to relive that memory, whether it's our child's, whether it's a graduation present or like we had shown the anniversary stuff. You got to get it past the misses with the wedding invitations, but I think the ideas are limitless, right? You really can put anything, a baby bracelet, any number of things inside the relic and commemorate. I mean, we'll go drop $40 all day long on something from Walmart that's not unique for Christmas, right?
Sure.
It's why I never buy
massager or a robe or.
I am the world's worst artist, but I will always make my wife a birthday card, anniversary card by hand because it's unique. It's not Hallmark. I'll write something mushy gushy, probably stolen from a Nicholas Sparks book. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is a really novel idea, and I'm sure there's other competitors in this market, but also to have a friend build this for you. And I kind of think that's what you are, right? You're one of us. You're a hobbyist. It's not looking to make money off of us. Obviously, cover your costs, and hey, there's that. Business is business, but you're not looking to charge every single dollar you can in an effort to. That's neat. I got something you built. That's my stuff. My kid makes the wife happy, makes the kids happy. That's really neat.
Yeah. It's just how can I put this? Sorry, I'm a little bit lost for words here, but. For me, I'm just being honest. Like, this is not a job. Like, I'm actually, like I said before, it's like this is making a massive difference in a lot of kids' lives. Like, a lot, right? And then on top of that, too, unfortunately, some people have lost some loved ones, and they've sent me material, and I've made cards for them, and it's been a keepsake for them and memories that they're able to share among their whole family. So versus having one ball, we've taken a baseball and we've inserted it into 6 cards, and now every family member has a card of that, right? So
brilliant. There's
a lot more to it.
Like I said, the imagination is limitless. So however creative you can get in your mind, as long as it's within the parameters of what it is that you're obviously we're not putting grandma's vase in a baseball card, but as long as it's within reason as far as the material goes, and it's just another service that is a one-off within the industry that is really special. I mean, for me, I've had baseball cards made of my children by Jeff Baker from Gypsy Oak, brilliant artist. Giving her a one-of-one baseball card. If she were to turn around and commission you to do something of my children for me for Christmas, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. They're the baseball card. That's much cooler than any Mark McGuire or any Oakland A I could collect. Yeah, it's, and then again, it comes from somebody like you, who's a a friend, somebody we know, makes it even cooler than just sending it off to like a Photoshop, like Snapfish or something like that, and having them create a project and give me your $8.99 to shoot it back. Yeah, it's like, hey, that's cool and it's neat. Don't get me wrong, but coming from somebody within the industry who's a collector, who has a passion for it, makes it all the better. The memory is now extended beyond just the item itself.
Yeah.
Sure. And quickly showing this one off because the kid's last name's almost correct. It's an OE instead of a U, but I won't fault the kid.
Not everybody watches Steph. How is it spelled?
So it's Lincoln Luffler, whereas mine is Loeffler. Probably has some shared ancestry somewhere along the line. It's not too uncommon, not too common of a name.
So, Omar, before we let you go, we love to ask this question, and if you've listened to our show, I'm sure you might know what it is. if you could only own one card, and that's the only card you could ever own, what would that be in your collection?
Wayne Gretzky rookie card. Period.
Understandable.
Can't argue with that.
that is it.
The holy grail. What we love about that question is it's different for everybody. Some people go with the 52 mantle, and some people are like, you know what it is? It's some random card from some random pack from some random memory that only means something to me. And it's such a great question because there is absolutely no right answer. And who knows? Maybe somebody will come on the show one day and say it's a relic that I had commissioned by one of one MC, and here it is. So hopefully someday we can get there for you, and we want to watch this scale to the point where we knew you when. You know, you're so big that you're like, yeah, I remember when I was on that show, but guys, I don't have time for you guys now.
No, I will always make time for you guys. That's for sure. You know, hopefully in 10 years we do like an anniversary from now, and you never know. Positive, wishful thinking, like,
yeah.
But just to be like, hey, where are you now, Omar? And it's like, hey, how's it going? I'm back home in Canada or something like that.
we got to dream big, right? I mean, this is such a cool part of the hobby. Where can everybody find you? Where's your website again, just for anybody that might have tuned in late?
Oh, so www.oneofonemc.com.
And that is numerical one, the number one, OF1, number one,
yeah.
MC, as in Michael Charlie.com.
Yeah.
And then what other social media places are you, so we can all give you guys a follow?
So we're on Facebook. Our tag is at oneofonemc, and then Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and then LinkedIn as well too. And
okay,
then
fantastic.
YouTube. We really maybe have like a couple of videos on YouTube, but they're just openings, box openings. Nothing like you guys. Nothing to you guys' scale. So.
I gotta ask, what's the MC stand for?
Memorabilia cards.
Very nice.
Okay. Good question, Steph.
Makes sense.
Well done, you.
Yeah,
well,
sorry.
No, go for it.
The MC came from a coach here in Australia. We did a set of team cards, and I think he was just really lazy to put one of one memorabilia cards in Instagram, so he put one of one MC instead, and then that's kind of how that originated.
Very nice.
That is awesome. Omar, we can't thank you enough for coming on tonight with us. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better, as well as your product. And, you're welcome anytime you want to come on the show. And I can't wait to add a couple of these pieces to my collection because, like I said, I want to be the card. You can sell it to kids all you want, but you know what? Hey, I want a card of me.
Ben wants his own rookie card, a true definition of a ARC, XRC, TRC.
This is going to be an MERC, a me rookie card. So thank you so much, Omar. We really appreciate your time. We cannot thank you enough. And again, oneofonemc.com. One last question before we let you go. What is your turnaround time? If I want to have something done for Christmas, what are we looking at, especially with you being in Australia?
So typically turnaround time to make the card from design to production takes 7 days. And then shipping is typically 1 to 2 weeks. But COVID's been playing a factor as well. So we just had a couple of cases, and then that kind of delayed everything as well. Gotcha. So Christmas last year were really hectic. So if you probably put a deadline before November or before December. Okay. So that gives us enough time to get the card to you for Christmas.
So there it is, everybody out there listening. Get your stuff in by Halloween, just to be safe. Perhaps that way you get enough time to get it, especially if you're sending something to you. It's got to get to you, the turnaround time for you to produce it and send it back. Good lead time if you want to do this for Christmas. 6 to 8 weeks just to be safe.
Like we're already getting orders for Christmas now. So very cool. And good for them for planning ahead. So
I love early stuff. And that's why I asked, because I was thinking, hey, I like to start Christmas shopping like in August. So this would be a good idea to start sending you something now, if that's, whatever I can gather and have that back home. The hardest part is once it's home now, not sharing that with whoever it's designated for. Yeah, like, especially such a cool piece like this. It would be too hard not to. Hey, guess what? You're getting this in November. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you, my friend. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you not only on the show, but just what you're doing in general. We'll have to check in on the website periodically. So definitely keep stuff up there for us, new stuff, so we can, keep updating everybody.
Sure,
and we can't wait to see how this scales.
Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you for the support and having me on your guys' show. I greatly appreciate it. I know there's been a lot of messaging back and forth, so
Sure.
Love what you guys are doing as well, too. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, Omar. We'll talk soon.
Take care, guys.
All right. Man, that really is really neat. And the price point's so good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really
I mean, I bought cards from Australia before, and they charged me like $25 just to get the card shipped there anyway. So really, it's a pretty good deal for shipping from Australia.
Really is, yeah.
Yeah,
and some
awesome.
of the designs and some of the I don't want to say mock-ups, but some of the produced cards, I guess, look really nice. Really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and how many times do we drop, that $25, $45 range on some random low numbered card of some guy that happens to play for our favorite team right now, and not forever, right? I mean, obviously, Andrew being a Will Clark guy, these guys are retired, so we already know what their career is. But I've been burned so many times by Cespedes and Ryan Healy and soon to be Chapman and Marcus Semien, soon to be Olsen. This is different, man. These are your kids. Or your spouse, your significant other, or yourself,
right?
If you want to be the card,
Yeah.
And I know there are a few other people out there producing similar cards, but different price points, and sometimes you like to do business with certain people, and Omar seems like a really cool guy. So,
to answer a question from chat, Felfly Ball asks, "Can he insert an auto?" I did see on the website that it is possible to insert a cut auto. But in addition, I could easily assume that once it's produced, you can have your little kiddo come out with a nice Sharpie tip pen and, well, maybe not Sharpie, but you guys know what I mean, a signature pen, and have him scribble out his name.
Yeah,
on the card.
Doing it after the fact too might be a little easier than him having to try to manipulate it, especially if it goes out. I mean, the relic can only be so big.
Sure.
And how many times do we see professional athletes not sign on the sticker, knowing there's a finite amount of space and knowing where that sticker is going? They know it's going on a card soon, and they're still way out of the. So it might be easier to be able to hand a pen to your kid after the fact and say, "Hey, can you sign it? And this is the only space you get."
This little tiny spot, right?
Yeah. So let's get into the week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 175. 431 Herman Marquez, pitcher for the Colorado Rockies, sold 1,641. 432 Alek Manoah, rookie card, pitcher for the Blue Jays, XRC, sold 1,979 copies, which, kind of seems, you got an all-star on one hand, you got a rookie, selling about 3,700 copies combined. Par for the course.
And the first for the Rockies, as our buddy Cardboard Stats notes, since card number 321, a full over 100 ago.
And we are trying to see if we can get Jared Kelly, one of the two artists for the Topps Living set, who did the Marquez card this past week. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get him on the show. He recently subscribed, so if anybody out there wants to kind of blow up his timeline a little bit and kind of help nudge that along, maybe we can get Jared on the show and kind of pick his brain about being included in this and some of his other art projects. It'd be really, really fun, in my opinion, to kind of see what he thinks about being part of the Topps Living set and his long-term plans. If this goes on for another couple of years, if he his long-term plans are to be a part of this moving forward indefinitely.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, so we had Topps Archive Signature Series Retired Player Edition. So that's Ass RPE that released last week. Topps Museum Baseball came out. 2021 Panini Donruss Elite Football and Gypsy Queen are all out now as of last week. Couple of
Although
decent.
Be careful buying Gypsy Queen, apparently. But we'll get to that in a minute.
So yeah, and Andrew's opened up some Gypsy Queen and shared a couple of things with me, so we'll definitely talk about that and some of the fun stuff. Nothing great. Archive Signature Series, much hated product. Open it up on the secondary market. Don't be the sucker that opens it up firsthand, unless it's a box here or there, and you got a little bit of money and you don't really care. Could be a fun lottery ticket, but by and large, you're probably not going to get your money back. Hot off the press, new releases, Topps Living Week 176. Card 433 and 434 came out. I don't have those handy in front of me. Steph, you got who they happen to be?
I can work it up here. Well,
you got it, Steph?
I'm
If
pulling
not-
her up.
As long as one of us have it. I don't have it.
Yeah. It looks like it's Andrew Vaughn and Tommy Edman.
Vaughn's a White Sox first baseman. I think part-time DH, perhaps.
He's it's got his rookie, and then Tommy Edman for the Cards. For the Redbirds.
Not a bad week. Cardinals, popular team in the hobby, so we'll see. Not expecting anything huge. Another product like Archive Signature Series, the acetate version is coming out, slated for today. Clearly authentic baseball. You'll get one pack, one card or box. It's just basically the same thing. You open it up, you get one card. What's that you're showing?
Brent Rooker.
For the Twins.
Yep.
Is that a number?
Player. Yeah, this is the green
the
parallel. Green to 99 down there.
These are really cool cards.
They're really nice.
Really critical of them when they first came out, just because again it's a Archive Signature Series again. But once you get them in hand, they are really nice. But again, it's one of those products that you don't want to be the one opening too much of this, because of the odds of you getting your money back. At least not necessarily at the breaking level, like Andrew, I'm sure you probably got a much better deal than if we were to go into an LCS tomorrow.
I hope so. Yeah,
it's just not a incredible return against your purchase price. These are definitely products that you're going to want to open up in volume if cashing out on the back end with a little bit of money left over is your game. So there were 53 signers. Go check out Beckett.com. Ryan Kraken will probably have a complete breakdown of team sets and all those other goodies for you if you plan on.
If it's been announced. Sure.
Yeah, if they're out, it's a good product to look for your favorite guys. I'm sure it's frustrating for you if there's a Will Clark on the checklist.
There is, yeah. Got to get them all.
It's tough because these are acetate versions of base cards, whereas Archive Signatures are just buybacks and stamped and signed. And a lot of times you get some really neat cards and clearly authentic that Signature Series. One thing I do like about Signature Series, especially the retired edition, is they will go get old food releases sometimes and have them sign some of that stuff or some of the.
Well, in the mock-up here, they have 2006 Ginter, I believe, with Acuna's signature on it. And obviously he wasn't playing.
Yeah. I opened a couple boxes of the Archives retired, and I think I had the Sean Green autograph from like 2003 Finest, and I was like, oh, it was a pretty sweet card in and of itself. Just
Dodger?
Maybe a Blue Jay at that point.
Okay.
But
yeah, sure.
Just the Finest, I was like, oh wow, they're buying back Finest cards. That was a pretty nice touch there.
Yeah. Again, if you've got a favorite team or favorite players that are on the checklist, definitely check out the secondary market. These are really nice cards. I will give them credit. Again, I just personally don't want to be caught holding the bag on opening it and getting some random guy. who's down lower on the checklist, especially when you're buying, at the retail markup. Panini clearly Donruss. Go ahead.
I said I'd just like to point out that I nailed that. It is a Dodger.
Yep, it is Dodger. Yep, that's the one right there.
2020 and 2021 Panini clearly Donruss basketball is coming out on Friday. 4 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You should be getting 1 insert, 3 parallels with a 100-card base set. Check out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on these new releases, as well as any of your older ones and future ones. Ryan does a great job of building a cheat sheet for all of us team collectors out there, giving us breakdowns, kind of does our homework for us. And sometimes I thank God that he does, because it is an absolute mess to go through some of these checklists.
For example, the San Antonio Spurs for clearly Donruss basketball have 3 base and 2 auto mosaics.
Yeah, and then you can go back to the regular checklist to find out what parallels you might want to chase as well.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how these ones look. I think this is the second year they did it, and I do remember last year's had very poor production quality control. In terms of a lot of the cards were peeling around the edges on the acetate, and I remember there was a lot of that happening, and so and a lot of scratching on the cards when they were packed out. So I hope that they solved that issue for this year.
Well, and it's really hard to get acetate down right proper. There's a baseball set. I want to say playoff / Donruss / whomever did in the early 2000s, late 90s, that had the acetate background, but it had the player built onto the acetate as well. And those are hard, impossible to find in pretty decent shape, just because it's on top of that. And then you stack it in a pack of multiple condition sensitive.
Yeah, Panini's done pretty good in the past. Going, I think 2012 Prism, baseball was sticking together, so they put that horrible powder on it to try the following year to prevent this stuff, and that was a mess in and of itself. But at least it was a step in the right direction as far as this was an issue last year. Let's try to see if we can alleviate this moving forward into next year's release. So maybe they got some feedback, hopefully, and maybe they've kind of corrected that, especially since so many collectors, speculators right now are so condition sensitive, since grading is such a huge part of the industry and our day-to-day language. It's definitely something that you hope that they would be aware of and try to help us. So we shall see. Well, we should know by Friday. And if anybody out there is listening and opens up any of this product and has any good or bad experiences this year, let us know so we can kind of keep an eye on that and let other collectors know before they might go out and spend a lot of money. That at least they know what's going on with the product. What's brewing next week? We have the 2021 Topps Complete Baseball Factory set, which is slated to release next Wednesday and should have Series 1 and Series 2. Do we know yet whether or not they're going to put any complete set exclusives in there?
I don't see why they wouldn't. I know they pushed the set back and back and back and back and back. So it'd be interesting to see what. Well, that and they always have a different version of the set. So where like this one has the chance at an auto, whereas the regular might have. So it does look like they will have the foil board parallels. So much like they did last year, maybe 2019, where they had the base set version, but then there was also a gold foil parallel version. But the foil set, you got like 4 or 5 a box. It looks like that's continuing into this year.
Last year is when they did the gold set, which was like 1 in every 3 sets, and then they had like foil ones that were out of $4.99. They had some that were limited, like the star set was 100. Or 300. The orange set was 100, I think, and then there was a 1 of 1 set, which I believe was a redemption set, if not mistaken.
I believe so. Yep.
And we don't know if anybody ever got that and claimed it.
If they had, I never saw it.
Some
insane.
dude or gal bought that, stuck it out on their shelf, saying, "Yeah, I got a complete 2020 top set," having no idea what they actually have sitting inside that sealed box. So that hopefully somebody has it. That'd be too cool of a thing not to have out in the market. And it'd be
So here's the sell sheet for Blowout. Cards 1 to 660, Series 1, Series 2, found in the Baseball Complete Set Hobby Edition. Complete Set also includes 5-card parallel sequentially numbered, not numbered, foil board parallel cards. Subject to actual production runs.
interesting. So we'll report more on that when we have some more information. If more info comes out on any complete set exclusive parallel sets. Good segue into our infield chatter, the hobby talk section of our show. Topps has released a 2022 Topps design, usually done in August. And we got an early hobby Christmas present this year. It's now in July. It's our first look at the 2022 Topps Series 1 design. And we do have a follow-up question before we move on. Do we have that design handy?
I do. 2 seconds. As it loads. Boop.
So, Andrew, what are your thoughts on this design?
Well, first things first, I can read the player's name, so that's +1 right there. Actually, I really like it a lot. I'm hoping that the little border between the white border and the actual player that is going to be team color oriented. It looks like
so the light blue line here.
Yeah, light blue for Tampa. I'm hoping they do some colors with that. I think I'm a really big fan of this one. I think this is definitely one of the better ones in the last easily 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, some of the sets have grown on me, especially seeing them in hand. But the on first appearance is maybe my favorite since like 2013 or so.
Yeah. My first gut reaction, and I think that's usually what a lot of us do, have that gut reaction. My thought is it's just bland. It's nothing. You're not going too far from the reservation. You're staying home, and it is clean. Some feedback I saw, a few people mentioned that it looks like, at least on the Wander Franco card, and granted, it could just be the photographer, the photo they used. There's a lot of room for the rookie card logo. And, the rookie cup, any other good stuff that they want to add, if they put numbering on the front of the card, perhaps, or, 70th anniversary type stuff, because I'm sure they'll come up with some anniversary next. It's the 6th anniversary of the 7th anniversary time that, So,
it's Topps.
I mean, I will say this: for years, we were complaining that the cards were too busy. There was too much going on. And so, to me, Topps flagship is not. It's not supposed to be. It's not necessarily a bold design this year, but it's also not something that I would be opposed to. It's getting back to more of a classic look to it, and it's definitely got a little bit more old school feel, which I kind of like. For years we've been having these lines going in every direction. We've been having all these extra elements just randomly inserted throughout these cards, and it's just nice. And to me, it's like we can do that in Inception. You can go crazy in Finest. I just like a nice clean card for the base set. This is the base card. You don't have to get too crazy with it to deliver a nice card here.
Well, I couldn't agree more. It definitely is a return. There's not all of the hyper busy elements like 2019 or I think last year's we saw where like the rookie cup logo was super large, and then the cup was in the corner, and then of course there's the Topps logo, but then of course there's the 70th anniversary logo. It's like, guys, just calm it down, chill. Less is more, less is more, less is more. To give kind of a quick overview for those that haven't seen it, that are listening just to the audio. Bottom left, so it's Wander Franco. It looks like he's in a home run trot, tapping his chest. Topps logo, top left. Rookie card logo, top right. Lines going down the side, across the top, and across the right. But towards the bottom, Left side, you got like a baseball effect with the team logo over it, and then 2 or 3 panel boxes for Wander Franco, Tampa Bay, and the player's position.
This design could play very well, and we won't know, of course, until next February. But it could play very well depending on how they do the, like Andrew said, how the border around the photo, if it's team color,
Sure.
which I imagine it would be, and then of course how the colored parallels end up looking on this border. I think a lot of that goes into the overall design as well. I mean, this is just a first look, breaking news, instant reaction, and I think flagship grows on a lot of us because we don't really get anything. There's that 6-week window between Christmas and Valentine's Day where nothing really drops. And then once we get it in hand, we're so excited for the new, it's the new baseball year. And I know there are cards of other sports that are coming out during those times, of course. But it's flagship. And I think that's a, late Christmas present for most of us. Probably all of us that do collect baseball. And of course, it's it is a good design for the true rookie card year over year, and you can have all of the other XRCs with everything else. So we did have a question from @Corey Theoden. He asked what hot rookies might be included, and I reached out to folks on Twitter today to get a couple of names. The 2 big boys would be Wander Franco of the Rays and Jarren Duran of the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Marsh just came up this week with the Angels, making his debut, so he should most likely have a Series 1. A couple of other names, potentially Matt Manning of the Tigers, Vidal Bruján of the Rays, outside chance that Riley Green of the Tigers,
Awesome.
Although probably Series 2 or update, along with Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners. Probably looking at an update release. But those are a couple of names. Franco and Duran are most likely going to be the 2 highly sought after.
Yeah.
And obviously Franco's going to be a big one because he's going to be there. He's on the promotional stuff. He was the guy that they chose to drop, despite other guys like Ohtani and Guerrero and DeGrom having historically ridiculous years. They went with Franco as the promotional. So. More information on that and stuff will come out over the next couple of months. It's just kind of interesting. Steph, is this the earliest we've seen a design?
I do believe so. At least since I've been following the hobby, I know that it's usually been a week or 2 before the National. If not, personally, where I thought should be at the National. Hey, during the top Q&A or have a special press event, pull the not the envelope, but pull the sheet over the design, and hey, here it is.
Look at what Nintendo did with the movie The Wizard, when they brought out this big 90-minute movie to come out with Super Mario Brothers 3. I mean,
basically,
that's brilliant. Why not do something like that? You literally have all eyes on you, whether they're in person or not. People still follow the National from afar on social media. That's a perfect time, and it's not like it's months and months away. It's literally next week.
Mm-hmm.
Good time to don this and unveil it with a curtain and drum roll and red carpet. And hey, I don't work for Topps, so what do I know?
I mean, I've personally been in hand both at a few of Topps' national events, but also at the million card break from 2020. Wherein they showed off what Topps could do for an event. I don't see why they couldn't do that at the National to reveal a design.
It's a good time for it. It also lets collectors know exactly when that is coming out every year. Every National, Topps is going to come out and unveil their new design. It's something we all can look forward to, especially if you're not going to the National. That week of the National, you'll see the new design for whatever, for what that's worth if you care.
I mean, I compare the National to basically the sport hobbies version of Comic-Con, right? when these movie studios go to Comic-Con, they're not releasing trailers for these movies the week before Comic-Con, are they? They're doing it right there in Comic-Con. So to me, it's like, why wouldn't you do that?
And you don't have any competition. You know, it's your flagship design. It's the flagship design of baseball year over year over year. It's not like you mentioned movie theaters, right? Where they're all trying to trump each other and come up with hey, this is it. This is your baseball design. This is the flagship design, period, end of discussion, because you have this exclusive license. I don't see why they don't, but then again, we're putting a lot of faith in Topps marketing department. If they even, I guess, assuming they have one, is the first mistake.
Well, and
do they even need one? They sell everything out right away. So,
there's something to be said for that too.
The lead out to the question that was asked in chat here. Thoughts on Panini scaling back at the National? Decrease in silver packs, no VIP. Hobby so hot that they don't need to splurge and provide value. And I told him, why doesn't he go, since he's going, since this being last week's guest, that why doesn't he become a reporter in the field and find out? But, I mean, obviously not going to discuss that. And with everything going on, it's understandable. Maybe they wouldn't want 2,000 people packed in a small clubhouse or club or whatnot for an event. As far as packs and on-site things, that's no reason they couldn't produce packs.
If anybody's living in Illinois, anybody lives in Illinois that might be a little more familiar with the governor and state guidelines, that might be able to answer whether or not that's, you already have a lot of people in a very small, it might be a gigantic room, but at the same time, it's small by comparison. I was at a baseball game last week and we're all heading out, and it's an A's game. You know, there's not a whole bunch of fans at an A's game. But heading out the door, right, I'm like, Bentley, grab Grandpa's hand. John, grab my hand. Stay with the adult that's got you. And we're all being herded like normal, right? We're all heading for the exit at the same time, just like cattle. And it's like, so much for social distancing. This game we went to see was the exact same day they mentioned in the San Francisco part of the Bay Area that 7 different counties were starting to do mask mandates again. And here we are, you know, shoulder to shoulder, you know, chest to back, trying to get out of a stadium simultaneously. And so maybe there's some COVID-related reasons as to why they can't pack everybody into a small room.
Well, and exactly, you know, not to get fully political, but there's a huge difference between like a state like Texas versus California or Illinois.
I mean, well, I think too with the pack out, I mean, you can see when you guys are doing your schedule upcoming, when has Panini been able to hit a deadline and not have to push a product back? I think they may not have been able to even produce enough packs, or they're so behind on all their other stuff, they've had to focus on the product that they're selling versus the giveaway packs.
Maybe, for sure.
In that regard too.
And if it is COVID related, Steph, you know, you said not to get too political. I mean, if that's what it is, it might be a state mandate of sorts or sure, limitations on what we can and can't do. And, you know, over the next week and a half, there's going to be a lot of outside the state guests, you know, coming into that state and into a specific city. And maybe the city's right on the outskirts in the greater metro area. And, you know, we're collectively guests in that state, and we have to adhere to those state guidelines as Panini does as a business at that event. And if anybody out there has more information on that, definitely share it, and we can at least try to, you know, report back on that, an update next week. But
I know that certain companies are having issues getting press time, even just because those companies can't produce their product on time.
Yeah, and if anybody is at the National next week, ask. Yeah, find a friend. Ask somebody. Let's move on to the National Hockey Card Day at Red Nails. Had sent a tweet. National Hockey Card Day is back this July 24th. What is that, guys?
So it's confirmed by Upper Deck's Upper Deck Hockey Twitter account that On this Saturday, if you go to any participating hobby shop, that depending on how they want to roll it out and depending on what country region you're in, that there will be a certain amount of packs given out, featuring new rookies. In this case, some mascots for the teams. There's an American versus Canadian pack. Kind of screws me over in that Kaprizov's in both, but I think the previous years it's been like a 15-20 card set. Not too hard to chase down, and Upper Deck put out a list of participating hobby shops, so you can go and look up and see who's in your area, which shops do, which shops aren't. And I'm sure Upper Deck will have a whole lot more information on Saturday, posting about, hey, show us what you got. What did you hit? What was in your pack? Show off and maybe retweet something. Upper Deck has, hands down, one of the best social media teams.
So I've been looking for a reason to have some modern day Upper Deck in my PC, and I just found it. Because I collect the mascot cards each year from opening day with Bentley. Those mascot cards are pretty damn cool. So I might have to grab those to add as a one-off, because the hockey mascots are just neat. And mascots are just cool. They're cool cards. And I think what makes them cooler is they're very limited each year. So they kind of become chase cards, so to speak. So I might have to go out and get myself those hockey mascot cards. You win, Upper Deck. Armageddon is upon us. You're going to get me to collect some hockey cards. Those are too cool. So that'll be neat. So if you're a hockey fan, look out for that. That is what the 24th is. What, Saturday?
This Saturday, yes.
So see if your local card shop is participating. Grab those. And if you've got some of the mascot cards, I know a guy who is apparently now looking for them.
So, for example, here's the website, and it's just upperdeck.com/NHCD, National Hockey Card Day, wherein they show get a free pack on National Hockey Card Day. Fans can visit participating retailers to get National Hockey Card Day set on good sheets. Interesting. Saturday, July 4th, 2021. Make sure to share your National Hockey Card experience on social media by using the hashtag NHCD, and check out the National Hockey Card Day Facebook page. So for U.S. visitors, I'll just tab out Canadian visitors and international visitors. It looks like they're getting the American run. So you got like the America's rookies featuring players that are rookies on American teams, which is where again you get Kaprizov. Stars and Stripes featuring some American guys, American icons, some legendary and or retired guys, so like Scotty Gomez, Gary Sutter, Doug Waite, John Van Beesbrook. Some rookie moments. So of course they want to feature Lafreniere in both sets. But also they brought back Victory, which I really love the design for. Kind of like a sideways stick cutout for the player photo. Upper Deck logo, of course, Victory. And then, as Ben had mentioned and alluded to, there are mascots. So you got Wild Wing for the Ducks, Nash for the Nashville Predators, Howler the Coyote for the Arizona Coyotes, Iceberg for the Pittsburgh Penguins. There you go, Jeff. And the New Jersey Devil for the New Jersey Devils, of course.
Steph,
Canada.
How did you pronounce Gary? I think it's Gary Suter, not Gary Sutter.
Sutter?
I think he's Suter.
Okay, so he's Suter. Sorry.
I think he's Suter.
Suter, Sutter. I had to take your pick. So here's Canada's list. You got Lafreniere as
America's rookies, though.
Canada's rookies. Here we go. Tim Stutzel, Nick Robertson, not Jason, unfortunately. Josh Norris, Alexander Romanov, Nils Hoglander. Pride of Canada, so you got some of the Team Canada guys. Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Carter Hart, Shifley, Cale Makar. The Legends, Lemieux, Billy Smith, Eric Lindros, Wendell Clark, Gordie Howe, previously mentioned on the show. Rookie moments, Lafreniere again. The Victory set, which honestly I may just collect the Victory cards and the American Kaprizov.
Those black borders are sharp. Those are
They
good
really
with the white with the white ice behind it. Obviously, yeah. They just that black pops.
Nick Robertson, Hoglander, Lafreniere, Alexander Romanov, and Kaprizov. And then, of course, the mascots, Hunter the Oiler, Mick E. Moose for the Jets, Harvey the Hound for Shawnee Boys, Calgary Flames, Carlton the Bear for the Maple Leafs, and Yuppie, the ex-Montreal Expo / Canadian Montreal Canadian mascot there.
I need
Really
you to make me a checklist, Steph, of the mascots.
So it was five to it was
Five,
what?
10 of them
Five
total.
and 10 total. Yeah.
Good deal. So yeah, check that out. That'll be dropping on Saturday, and that'll be fun for hockey fans. I'm glad that they do stuff like this. Our buddy Ryan Cracknell, who we need to have on the show again soon, at Trader Cracks on the Twitter of Beckett.com, had tweeted out in regards to Project 70. He says, if either of these cards sell under 1,000 copies, do we deserve all the Yankees? Which cards is he referring to?
He is referring to the Charlie Blackmon /
Bob Ross.
I like
you.
that one.
Completely drew a blank. I wanted to say Billy for some reason. The Bob Ross Charlie Blackmon painting, and the Brett Phillips 2013 tops that I had previously mentioned in Project 70.
That one's by Blake, right?
Believe so. Does it mention who? Does not.
Yeah, the Blackman is cool. Our buddy Tom Willis tweets out on Twitter every day. Oh, these cards are really cool. No Rockies. These cards are really cool. No Rockies. Well, guess what? Not only did you get one, you got a really cool one. And the painting with the Colorado Rockies is what the Bob Ross-esque Charlie Blackmon is painting. It's a really neat card. And the only thing that I dislike about it, it's horizontal. But that's literally the only thing you can say about it.
You and Eric / those back pages need to get over horizontal cards. They can be gorgeous. I'm looking at you, Juan Soto.
All right. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see what those are. Project 70 is a love-hate relationship. Andrew got his first Will Clark this week. Second Will Clark. Yay for that's right, because Bobby Hundreds did that one.
Yeah. Technically he did a Will Clark.
And did you get an artist proof?
I got the base card, I got the artist proof, and I got the auto numbered to 10 version.
Look at you, big spender.
I only bought the auto numbered to 10 because I just clicked on the first one I saw, and then only after I bought it did I realize there was a base auto version for a third of the price. So yeah.
So you could have saved.
I'm glad you got it.
$2.
Yeah. No, I overpaid for the card, but what are you gonna do?
I'm glad you got one. Stuff like this belongs at home. Being a huge Will Clark guy, that's definitely good that you were able to get some of those. So every once in a while, we
glad it wasn't the Bobby Hundreds. It was actually a decent card this time that I was okay getting.
I think Bobby Hundreds, having come out and decided to piss off a lot of people the first week. I don't think I
didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with doing the error cards, but he just did too many at once. It was my only issue. That was my biggest complaint, is that there's just too many errors at one time.
It would have been kind of cool if he'd done, 19 of his 20 or however many he was slated to do, and then just slipped one in with a slight error variation as a nod to the hobby in general, instead of just doing them.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but when the first card comes out and we don't know you because you weren't a Project 2020 artist, so this is our first introduction to your artwork, at least, maybe in general, but at least as it pertains to the hobby. And people are like, what the heck is this? And start with a lot of negative comments, and instead of embracing it, like say Blake Jameson did, and saying, "Hey, look, my art's not going to be for everyone. If you can just be patient and enjoy it, don't enjoy it, buy it, don't buy it, but hey, why don't you wait a few weeks until 5 or 6 of these come out, and you can kind of start to see my vision come together," instead of saying what he said, and I don't have their quote, but basically he was very negative in his response because he got his feelings hurt and, puffed out his chest. And it's just like, whoa, back up, dude. This is not the art community you're talking to. This is the card collecting community, and we play differently than you're probably used to. And just take a step back, get off your soapbox, allow us to embrace you as an artist. And I think some people will come around. Just approach it a little. Ben Baller did the same thing and called us a bunch of names collectively. You guys are all this and you guys are all that. And it's just like, just chill, dude.
This is a way not to have these sold.
You get commission off of us. And New York Nico came at me after I told him, I was like, dude, you don't do your own artwork because Topps' video showed you not doing your own artwork. And he starts talking mess to me. And it's just like, thank God you're only doing New York cards, because now I don't have to sit on the fence of whether or not I want to support you when you inevitably do the Ricky Henderson card. So what every once in a while you see, I have hashtags called the shit you see on Facebook and the shit you see on eBay, and a lot of that stuff is really funny, and there's just dum-dums out there. Some stuff is just insane. You want to talk about a dum-dum. There was an arrest made.
87 Topps, number 366 was horizontal. Would you still have 500 of them?
We're talking about the Dallas Card Show arrest.
We are.
So there's quite a few people out there that had tweeted about this. There is some video of a chucklehead deciding that he, from what I understand and gathered, he lifted a Luka Doncic 1 of 1 from one table and tried to sell it to another dealer at that same show.
I wasn't, but I know quite a few people who were. There's some argument whether it was a 1 of 1 Luka or the 1 of 1 Mahomes, but essentially he misappropriated it on, say, Saturday and tried to sell it to the same guy who had moved tables the next day. Not knowing that it was the same guy.
Man,
congrats.
There is a special place in hell for criminals in general, and you see all times dumb criminals do this and do that, right? But this guy steals a card, which is reprehensible to begin with. But hell, man, if you're gonna steal it, don't sell it to the same in the same building to the same group of collectors. It's not like it's a Luka Doncic 1 of 1. Oh wait, it is. It's something that a lot of people are going to be aware of that is no longer with its rightful owner. And again, if you wanted to sell it on eBay, not a good idea. You wanted to try to sell it a couple of states over to somebody who might not be aware that card was stolen and you're a thief. That's a better idea than, what?
I'm just giving out ideas because we hope you get caught if you do.
Yeah, we're not endorsing it, but I mean, how the idea, the illustration is how dumb can you literally be, right? I worked at Macy's, my first job. I'm 18, and I worked in the houseware section selling, pots and pans and dishes and stuff and coffee makers. And I just put out all of the high-end pots and pans, and I just filled the section with a $500 set. And this guy had stole the little Macy's straps that are like stickers that you can use as handles. And he slapped it around it. And he comes up to me, and this is like right after we opened. We opened at 10, and he's like 10:04. And he tells me, oh, yeah, hey, my kid's over in HR, which is right on the backside of the housewares department. He's like, he's filling out a job application. While I'm here, can I return this? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I look over and there's a big ass hole. He literally took it off the shelf, slapped it on there, and tried to return it to the same register that's sitting 10 feet away from where he stole it from. And I'm just like, yeah, hey, no problem. I'm still opening up my my register. And I stepped away for a second, called security. I'm like, yeah, dude, this guy's a thief. And he's like, dude, I'm already on my way. I saw him steal it. And it's like, just, I mean, if you're a thief, you're probably not the brightest bulb anyway. But this guy, and he's being blasted everywhere on. I mean, when people on Facebook are making fun of you,
even in the video, wrong. I don't know how well you guys can hear it, but I'll play it again if you listen. So the guy starts to get hauled away, and then in the background, less audibly, you can hear a guy laughing at him. You deserve what you get.
So if you haven't seen the video and you're not watching this off of a YouTube stream, I'm sure it's on YouTube or on the Twitter or on the Facebook and in any number of groups at this point. Our buddy John Newman at Sports Card Nation 1 said card crime does not pay. Felony, baby, for your cardboard keeper.
Indeed. Tweeting a picture, presumably from Dallas Police Department, maybe Allen or
and we're not going to say his name because we don't want to give him any more.
Person's name here arrested, lower level booking for theft. Congrats. And probably in that the value of it, it's probably grand theft at that point.
Yeah, because it's over $5,000, no doubt.
Presumably.
And I think that yeah, I mean, it's a 101 Luca that's graded. I would imagine it's not going to take much to get to that price point. But hey, we'll see. Hopefully somebody gets some information on what inevitably happens to him so we can all laugh about his idiocy. It's one of those ones where it's like, I can't believe people can't believe people would do this. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
So for those that are listening to just the audio, the reason we're chuckling, someone made a mock-up authentic fabrics for this person's name here, game used with seemingly the color of his jersey, shirt. That's weird.
It'd have been funnier if it was orange for the new clothes he's getting. The black sure. Relic matches the picture, but right. The orange jumpsuit, you know, I wonder what that card is going to be worth in 5 to 7 years. But
maybe 5,000, and someone will steal it from the card show.
I was just saying because that's going to be what his prison sentence might be.
Right.
All right. So enough about that. Cracker Jacks. Micah Marshall completed the 1915 Cracker Jacks set. What I mean, you want to talk about something, and I use this word in a good way, something stupid. Like, where would you even like? Hey, I think I'm going to try to complete the 1915 Cracker Jack set. That just makes my brain hurt. Steph, you want to read the Facebook post? Sure. What he says on his post?
So Michael Marshall, the third, thinks he's messing with the second. Sorry. Hello all. I just completed the 1915 Cracker Jack set. I was working on completing the 433 Gaudi Ruth and 4 of the different colored T206 Cobbs, but now I'm broke, and with prices the way they are, I can only afford to just look at what I have. I asked my wife to get a pic of me and my 400 plus children. So he's got a couple signed balls as well as some other stuff mixed here and there. It looks like maybe a photo or two of his kids on cards, some T206s, and a ton of graded Cracker Jack cards.
Are those graded card binders?
It looks like it. I actually have seen these through Ultra Pro, I believe. But yeah, they're like 2/3 the size of a standard.
I've never seen that before. That's gnarly.
So he tongue-in-cheek says he's broke, but this is not an investment outside of the time to collect all of this and acquire it. The chase to put the puzzle together. But if you're gonna park your money in the hobby, as opposed to parking it in low yield
Mercedes.
Roths, or putting it in the stock market, etc. If you're going to park it, this I don't know what he spent on this, but I imagine if he ever needed to cash out, not only would he
Probably
have
6 figures.
Oh yeah, easy.
I mean, just in his hand, he's holding. It looks like a Gaudy Ruth, a Gaudy Gehrig, and a Bronco Nagurski Bowman.
Now the real value is in this set as a whole. If he were to put it up at auction as a complete set, but he will always be able to cash out, even if he takes a small loss and has to cash out at 70 cents on the dollar. This collection will not depreciate very much. I mean, if you bought a lot of that right now, say over the last 18 months when the market is hot and artificially elevated, sure, maybe on some of it, but I don't think he bought all of this over the last 18 months. I'm sure this was a lifetime pursuit. And Micah, hey, if you're out there, maybe we'll reach out to him on the Facebook and see if we can get him on the show, because this would be a fun thing to talk to him about. Like, what day did you sit down? Did you have a couple of these and go, hey, this is a good idea? And did, as he mentioned, his wife, did you have to consult her and beg her to go after this? How long was the proverbial leash to say, yeah, honey, this is a good thing. Go for it. I feel obligated to ask my wife if I want to build a 4th Gypsy Queen set.
Oh man.
I want to go for the black and whites. They're numbered out of 50, honey. There's 12. So yeah, anyway, let's see if we can get Micah on. If Micah listens to the show, or if you know Micah Marshall, let him know. We wouldn't mind having him on sometime in the future. Well documented at Card Archivist. He's a really good follow on the old Twitter if you are on Twitter. He goes, I know this is controversial, but I believe there is room in the hobby for documented professional restoration for defects similar to comic book and art restoration. What are your thoughts on that at all?
Well, so for example, the well-documented, well-known to be documented, doctored Wayne Gretzky, Honus Wagner. It's well known that card is what it is. To that, I don't so much have an issue, outside of the fact that for years it was went unknown.
Sure.
If you make it established and some grading company, or just even you make it known that this is mine, or it's never leaving your family's lineage, and you want to remove a gum stain from the card or a fingerprint, I don't so much have an issue with that. Actually doctoring or snipping, cutting, doing some stuff that was advertised on some other podcasts, not so much.
Yeah, the biggest problem I see with this is that this is a very slippery slope. It would be almost impossible to regulate and differentiate than when a card has been altered versus not, especially if some of the grading companies aren't able to detect that.
Sure.
You also have to think of it from a person who would be looking to get this restored. There would be two kinds of people: one who's looking to get it restored for personal reasons, and then one who's getting it restored to maybe try and up the value. And I don't really see there being much value in trying to restore it if you're trying to increase the value of the card. There's too much out there to want a perfectly restored card. If I want a perfectly restored looking Honus Wagner, I'll just buy one of the reprints almost at that point. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if you're doing it for personal gain, just to look nice in your collection, I can see that. But I just don't know if there'd be a big enough market out there to do it.
And the biggest question that I think you alluded to, Andrew, is the slippery slope, right? PSA owns their own registry. In other words, that's their own tracking device of what they have graded. BGS has theirs, so on and so forth. If we were to have this, you would have to have a transparent ledger that is monitored and kept by a independent and impartial third party. And that's not going to happen. I mean, we've alluded to the true rookie card joke a couple of times. Cardboard Icons, Ben Aguirre had reached out to me about something I said on the show last week about Flagship being the only true rookie card and everything else would be the XRC, which created a big debate and other people got involved, and it was a good discussion and it was respectful. But it brings a greater point that as hobbyists, a lot of us lifelong collectors since we were little kids, we can't even agree on what a rookie card is, what a true rookie card is, what a pre-rookie card, an ex-rookie card. We can't agree on the most simplest of topics, the rookie card. If we can't define that, how are we going to have a transparent ledger that is documented and accurate anywhere? It would just... Brian has some great ideas, and we've featured him on the hobby chatter portion of our show, multiple times now, probably half dozen times at least, because he has a lot of good thoughts and insight. And I think we would absolutely love something like this, because if you have some, an old vintage card that you want to get restored like a comic book or a piece of art, it's a great idea. But there's just too much corruption and
The
shadiness
logistics
and
around it,
shenanigans.
especially.
Yeah, and great idea, Brian. Not going to happen as much as we might want it to, or would be okay with it theoretically.
And I mean, I don't know too much about comic book restoration, but the art restoration world is going to be completely different, because really every piece of art is a one of one.
Sure.
So if that art piece gets restored, it's then in theory well known that it's been restored. It's not like you can say, oh, this wasn't that painting. My painting is the one that wasn't restored. That just doesn't really happen in the art world. Whereas in the card world, there's how many cards out there. You can't definitively say this is the card. This was not that card that was restored. It's just in that grade of condition from the beginning. And so they're not. And like I said, I don't know how the comic book restorations work, but to me, the art restoration is kind of different in that regard, in that you are dealing with true one of ones basically every single time. Whereas with this, you really aren't. And so there is that opening for people to just scam the system.
When I get into discussions and debates about investing in trading cards, art always comes up as the closest cousin, so to speak, because there are so many similarities between the two collectible markets, but there are so many differences that they're not linear, as you mentioned, for a variety of reasons. And I know investing is not the topic we want to get onto right now, but it goes to illustrate that as many commonalities as they have so many variables that are different. On the surface is about as far as you're going to get, because as soon as you start to get into the weeds, they go off track, and it's not even close. And it'd be nice if we could have something like that, but you would literally have to have a company that is completely transparent and is beyond reproach. It's not going to happen. And the hobby's just not big enough for something like that. And another variable in the art world is it's universal. It's international. Everybody accepts art as a form of currency and investment and opportunity, where trading cards is 10 million people. That the only reason these have a worth at all is because we say they do. I'm going to give you $100 for a Mark McGuire card, or I've got a McGuire card or Clark card that I'm going to trade you for a McGuire card, even Stevens, just because we say so. Go to the grocery store and try to trade one of these cards that are a $500 card for $300 worth of groceries, and I guarantee Odds of you walking out of there with $300 cart full of groceries is highly unlikely. Go in there with a multi-print Pablo Picasso that's valued on the market at $500 with a COA, guaranteed somebody is going to give you $300 worth of groceries, because people accept art as for what it is. It's universal, it's international. Trading cards is not at that level. It probably won't ever get to that level because it's just too much of a niche, hobby. But something that had come up in the rumor mill over the last I think we were going to try to talk about it last week, and we just ran out of time. Slam and A-Rod. Alex Rodriguez's blank check company Slam Corp is in discussions to merge with Italian sticker and sports trading card collectibles brand Panini. Bloomberg reported on Tuesday. The deal has not been finalized, but could value the combined unit at $3 billion, Bloomberg said, citing one source. Rodriguez's Slam, which raised $575 million at its February public debut, is a special purpose acquisition company focused on targets in the sports, media, entertainment, health and wellness, and consumer technology sectors, according to an SEC filing.
Which I would assume that this would fall in line right with his recent acquisition of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, so I have a couple of thoughts on this. I consulted a couple of show friends who happen to be real-life lawyers. Before I get into the antitrust portion of this, what are your guys' thoughts on A-Rod and potential acquisition?
Well, so one, naturally, due to certain teams and certain things that he did, I've despised A-Rod for most of his playing career, as well as the asterisks that he may and or may not, depending on your position, have put in the record books. However, I like the acquisition for him and for his group. I like that seemingly he wants to keep the Timberwolves in Minneapolis. We'll see. But also, it seems like everybody is hopping in to make huge acquisitions like this. I mean, earlier today we'd found out that the mega global group that owns currently now Beckett and Dragon Shield sleeve company for Magic and Pokemon had bought out Southern Hobby Supply, one of the biggest national distributors. So it seems like everybody's either getting bought up, merged, founded by, picked up, or trading hands, if you will.
Yeah, my first thought with this is there a conflict of interest arising here, because Panini has exclusive license to NBA cards now, and now they're a part owner. I mean, does Panini now partly own the NBA team, or vice versa? So when the time comes around to have to decide what contract they're going to go with, or does Panini get that advantage because they are a part of the NBA in and of itself? It leads to some really potential shadiness that may happen, and unfortunately, because it's A-Rod, I just don't trust him. So I won't give him the benefit of the doubt in this regard.
Well, and especially to that, and more so for the carding market, I would wonder now if we don't get a Alex Rodriguez basketball card in the same way that Jay-Z and a few others have had that aren't in the league. I mean, obviously they can't use the Yankees or Rangers or Mariners team logos at the current moment, but it'd be interesting to see in the future.
So I called James Kikowski at Philly Puck Fan, who I believe is going to be joining us next week. We're going to see if we can get him on to talk about this and some hockey stuff, as well as Paul Lesko first question of both of them being lawyers was, hey, I'm not paying for this phone call, guys. So this is way more of Paul Lesko's expertise, being antitrust. So
Sure.
the hobby is an oligopoly. There's only 4 major trading card companies that are currently manufacturing cards, with no disrespect to the Cryptozoics and the Onyxes of the world, but the 4 main ones. And so my question is, hypothetically, let's go ahead and say Alex Rodriguez buys Panini, and then Panini decides, with all of this newfound capital, we're going to challenge for the Major League Baseball and the NHL licenses to go along with our NFL and NBA stuff. And then we're also going to go after wrestling and some of the other, soccer. And we're going to have everything. Would that be an antitrust violation? Because unlike, I don't know, again, now with this whole BGS buying Southern Hobby, and you have, I think, PSA that's trying to buy SGC, I saw somewhere.
Maybe sort of.
At what point does this become, you're not allowed due to monopoly laws? It becomes an antitrust violation. And both guys, both Paul and James, said the same thing initially, that technically Topps having a exclusive Major League Baseball license could be seen as an antitrust violation, but it's very thin. And the problem
I think this is what was argued in the 70s, which brought us Donruss and Fleer.
Yeah, the biggest problem is, do you bite the hand that feeds you? Let's hypothetically say that Steph, Ben, and Andrew decided we all of a sudden, one of our rich uncles died, and the 3 of us, and Tim can come too, created a capital buying group, and we decided that we're going to get involved in trading cards. And we could sue under antitrust laws. There's a good chance we would win, but now the problem is we've won. So we're going to go call up Major League Baseball and say, hey, guys, so now that we've won this antitrust lawsuit against, Topps, hey, we want to do some business, and we want to make baseball cards, and we want to use your license. And Topps is going to, or Major League Baseball is going to look at us and go, no. You just sued us indirectly. You've challenged who we have decided to do business with. Yeah, we're not doing business with you guys, but thank you for asking. And they're not going to say it very nice at all. And so we'll have James on next week, and hopefully Paul soon, and they can explain it a little bit more with the legalese and the law words. But that's basically the gist. Is there's probably a case to be had, but who would sue? And then at the end of the day, the other question, more rhetorical than anything, would be, what benefit would, say, Upper Deck have to challenge? Is it one of those situations where we all have our exclusive license, and Leaf, who claims, Brian claims he doesn't want an exclusive. We're all comfortable doing what we do, so nobody rock the boat, and everybody can play nice, and we'll all share our piece of the pie, and everybody has enough to keep themselves full.
Now, I thought the MLB and these leagues also had antitrust legislation that applied to them. So that way, that was their reasoning that they could exclude other people from trying to join their league. Would that then also apply to their licenses as well? Is that they also are part of that, and they are the antitrust exempt licensing as well?
It's possible. I'm not qualified to answer that. I will say this that was interesting. Paul Lesko had mentioned, here's one big caveat. Let's say that manufacturer ABC wanted to sue, because this license is not a forever license. It's not like in the grocery industry where Frito-Lay can only own so much of the potato chip aisle before they've got to, if they want to acquire this potato chip company, they might have to sell off this brand because they've got to stay under a certain percentage, which is I think around 70%. I could be wrong, but it's a fairly high number. Nestle with the ice cream, they can only, you want Ben and Jerry's, you got to sell off Haagen-Dazs. You can't have that much of the market when it comes to premium ice cream. The thing is, that's a forever. I own Haagen-Dazs. I own that brand. It's now part of the Nestle family of brands, period. I own it forever and ever until Nestle decides to sell it off. With this particular thing is Topps only has a license for a finite amount of time. And Paul's point was, if you presented something to the court because of how convoluted and how lengthy it would be for it to hit court, odds are extremely well that we think 2025 is when the Topps Major League Baseball license expires next.
I believe so, yeah.
So it's 2021. By the time you got this thing filed and it saw the light of day, that license is probably on the cusp of expiring or has just been renewed. And a judge is like, why did you bring this before me? The license is already expired that you're suing against. If you want to try to get into it, then offer more money than Topps did. Go to Major League Baseball and say, we want a fair shake at it. And Major League Baseball would give you one. Doesn't mean that they would agree, even if you overpaid for it. Mm-hmm. If they don't want to do business with you, they don't have to. But at the very least, legally, they would. And again, I might be speaking out of turn, but they legally, I believe, have to be. I think they're obligated to explore other offers, even if they want to renew with Topps anyway. Just like a company that has to open up a position, in all fairness, to everybody, even though they know who they're going to hire.
It seems to me, though, that with all these exclusive licensings, they're renewing these things 2-3 years before they even expire. So that would be my counter argument is there's never even a chance for someone to bid on this because they are, I think Topps is, when they renewed it, they still had 2 or 3 years left on their contract. And so it's like, you're not even giving these guys a chance. Like, do I have to go to Major League Baseball 5 years in advance to say, hey, when in 5 years I may want to bid on your license? Like, MLB's not going to say, oh yeah, maybe in 5 years we'll give you that chance. Like, that's, to me, that's, I understand that it's a temporary license, but in practicality, this has not been temporary by any stretch.
But do you sue for that?
I mean, I would, because it's to put it in sportsing term, the player is never hitting free agency, and it's not like they sued to get free agency.
You're never even getting a chance at it. Right. So what are you losing here? I mean, you're losing a chance to bid on them. You already don't have the license. So at the worst case, even if you win the lawsuit, and then it doesn't happen. I mean, now that I think about it, though, you then lose your exclusive too. So really, the only person who would sue would be someone who doesn't have any licenses. Because then if Upper Deck sues for baseball, all of a sudden it's applied. Hockey's up for grabs now, and so then the companies have to look at it that way. Is like, you're putting your own property at risk as well too.
Well, and that's probably why outside of Panini, we haven't seen a bigger push for those, knowing that we'd rather have our bread and butter basketball, football products. We would rather have our baseball product. We'd rather have our hockey product than going out and pushing to get 50% of each. And maybe the leagues say the same.
How many owners own multiple franchises across more than one sport? And hey, man, you sued Major League Baseball. Are you going to do this over here in the hockey too now? You're going to sue the NHL next? It's one of those ones where you probably have more to lose than to gain outside of being able to knock the exclusives out. And I don't know that the associated cost, the financial cost, would be worth the quote unquote win, other than I was watching something the other day on the GameStop versus Wall Street, and the fact that a lot of people that gained paper money ended up losing it at the end of the day, as that GameStop stock fluctuated up and down, and they could have cashed out, chose not to, because they basically said this consider
Hold the
this
line.
a donation to the cause
Mhm.
to beat Wall Street. And again, that is not a complete linear comparison, but that whole thought process is, the idea being, if I'm going to sue to try to break up this potential antitrust issue, I think you're slitting your own throat. But we'll get into that more with Paul or James. I mean,
I think the only people who would stop that would be the Fed,
Sure.
because they have no stake in it. It wouldn't be. I think the Fed would be the one who would actually file the lawsuit. Yeah, they would have to be the one.
And they're not. They're
No.
not, because it at the end of the day, and I think Paul had said something to this, and I'm probably not quoting him verbatim, but basically he said, "Who cares? It's just baseball cards at the end of the day. It's just a hobby. It's so far beneath them that it's part of the reason that the day of reckoning for box breakers probably won't come, because although it could be seen as running illegal lotteries and in violation of state and federal gambling laws, at the end of the day, unless a state legislator gets a hair up their ass, they're so busy. What do they really care? And what do they have to gain at the end of the day? But if baseball's ever going to listen 2 or 3 years before the renewal, A-Rod owning Panini and making a phone call to a couple of people, hey, don't renew that license early. Let's let it up for bid in 2025. That would definitely be something where maybe that pushes things in the opposite direction because of who he is, under the assumption he still has friends in the Major League Baseball front offices. 2021 national plans. Are either of you guys going?
We are not.
Not this year. Maybe next year.
All right. So Upper Deck will not be exhibiting at the event this year. The Collectibles Giant will have a senior staff on site and a variety of activities worth checking out. There is a breakdown. There will be VIP gift bags. For the first time ever, VIP attendees will be able to score limited edition Upper Deck breaking mats in their gift bags upon arrival. There will be black packs. Collectors making purchases on the box level from certified diamond dealers in attendance can score Upper Deck's summer black promotional packs directly from the shop's booth. Participating shops will have signage touting these packs, and they will be available while supplies last. They will have shirts available. You can check those out. If you're looking for Upper Deck products, make sure you're purchasing from a certified diamond dealer who will be sporting these shirts.
Presumably there's a way for somebody in attendance to get one of these?
Yeah, fans will be able to score some of these shirts via a raffle at the GTS distribution booth on Friday of the event. Make sure you say hi from the About the Cards guys to Ivan and Rob for us if you see them.
Of course.
There's a welcome raffle. Upper Deck will be running a free welcome raffle for fans at the GTS distribution booth on Friday at 3:30 p.m. You must be present to receive an item from the giveaway. Fans can score promotional items, cards, signed memorabilia, and sealed boxes. Tickets will be distributed starting at 3 on Friday at the GTS booth. Expired.
And of course, the other thing that they like to do, Upper Deck will be running the company's expired redemption raffle on Saturday at 11 a.m. at the GTS booth. So essentially, if you have any products that you've opened and haven't scratched the key card code and they are expired, you can contact them, have it shipped out, and they'll spin the wheel and decide whom and what those get. For those that are not in attendance, they will be mailed out. So maybe you get a card from not Gowdy, but
Goodwin.
Gowdy. They did previously have that title, but Goodwin is the one I was thinking of. Or maybe you get something from Series 1, Series 2. Who knows? But
It's
moving
cool.
on.
Yeah, they don't have to do that.
No, definitely.
They're expired. Yeah, I mean, it literally says that they're on the card. So the fact that they're doing that's pretty cool and a good way to, I think, market themselves. from the customer service standpoint, that hey, we're sticking by some of these, especially since one of their biggest competitors have been sued for this very, just redemptions in general.
Mm-hmm. So Topps is also doing a rapid redemption. These are the longest lines at the show for any of the companies, wherein cards that are bought at the show and remain sealed show up to the booth, wait in line. You want to get there early. Maybe you buy a box the previous day and bring it the next morning. Bring good shoes, nice and comfortable. Wait, and of course they're going to give you a couple packs out for choosing to purchase those. Usually around the show there will be signs indicating, hey, if you're interested in participating in this promotion, this box will get you 1 pack. This box will get you 2 packs, depending on, of course, price and the boxes that are bought. So you want to see. I don't think any of the companies have announced what those are, but again, I'm sure that those will be announced in at the show. Hey, if you buy a box of Series 2, you get 1 pack. If you buy a box of Ginter, it's 2 packs. If you buy a box of Transcendent, you get 10 packs. Something to that effect. But you'll see signs all around the show, and I'm sure that individual major distributors who are in attendance will have signs up at their booths saying, hey, for this, you get this, if you go to the company headquarters. For Panini, it looks like they are not doing the Panini VIP due to the tight timelines and broad uncertainty regarding whether the NFC would even take place this year, apparently. However, they are planning to do the VIP party at a later date and a later time and maybe a later state. Silver packs, of course, so their rapid redemption product. Eligible product list is shorter, and the number of silver packs per box redeemed for a number of reasons is fewer than in years past. Showgoers can expect limited silver pack redemptions each day of the show, while daily supplies last. I've had no issue, personally, going to Panini, because it's usually product I'm buying Diamond Kings at the show, current year, of course. And even as late as 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon when the show ends at 4, 5, 6, and being able to get these silver packs. So just personal anecdote, showgoers can expect a more limited silver pack redemption each day of the show while supplies last, of course. Only boxes purchased at the show from the 3 Panini authorized show dealers, David Adams, Blowout Cards, Steel City Collectibles, are eligible for silver pack redemptions. I don't remember this being a thing in years past, but on Panini, cool. Maximum 3 boxes per person per transaction, and full case redemptions will not be allowed. So no bringing 3 cases and expecting you get 100 packs. Sorry, guys. As well, Panini is doing a kids case break. Returns in 2021, again spearheaded by the Ultimate Box Breaks Brian Gavin. Beginning Thursday, Panini will host 2 free kids case breaks per day that are open to kids 12 and under. Kids who want to participate must get in line at the Panini America booth each morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Chicago, of course, to register and receive badges while supplies last. And that's the corporate company layout of the show.
So real quick, Steph, any first timers? I know we've covered this topic in the past, probably pretty much every year at this time. Well, not last year since there was no national, but a couple of tips and tricks for anybody that's first timer or maybe second timer that may have only been a day in the past that might be looking at an extended weekend out in Chicago this year.
Extended weekend out for the show. Normally, I would say be prepared for crowded lines and spacing between booths to be a little bit more crowded than you're used to at a regular show. However, this year, don't know. The spacing restrictions and whatnots may be a little bit different. I would definitely say get a brand new pair of shoes, get some gel inserts. Your feet will be sore by the end of the day. Be committal to, if you want to meet up with some friends after the show, to maybe be too tired to do so. But there's always late night, and you go to the hotel, take a nap, hit back on the show floor. Thing that I always tell anyone: if you see anything on the show floor and you want it or think you might want it, and you know that after some discussions either between yourself, wife, kids, whatnots, that you will be picking that up, or you will eventually want to pick it up, then you probably won't see it again. Personally, and that it's just the type of buyer that I am. I don't spend so much time in the auction / high end stuff, just because there's no way that's leaving with me anyway. It's nice, it's cool, maybe once a glance, but for the most part, it's. I mean, hey, it's a jersey from the guy. Okay, cool. It's leaving with Panini or Topps or whomever, high end seller buyer. And if there's any of the individualized booths that I can recommend, of course, the three major companies, Topps, Panini, and Upper Deck. But there's a dollar card club. I forget their exact name. There are a bunch of guys that essentially have hundreds of boxes of 5,000 count boxes for $1 each. There's some steals that can be found in there, and I know that a couple of friends of ours will have a competition wherein they try to raise as much money as they can in cards that are bought out of $1 boxes, 50-cent boxes, to see who can raise the most, or can I make 10 grand based on what I purchase. I'd like to get those too, just because usually if I'm not going to find for example, 2002 Bowman Draft Chrome Billy Journal card, it might be in one of those that somebody's forgotten about. And I guess maybe this year be prepared to see a lot of retail stuff, unfortunately. It's just what I've seen locally.
Something that was not in the show notes, that we alluded to at the very top of the show. I don't know if we've got it in our group DM about the Gypsy Queen case that had a very interesting blend of autos.
Very nice collation.
While you get that up, Andrew, how much Gypsy Queen did you open this year?
Oh, well, for myself, I opened, 3 boxes, and then I got a case that we're going to break half and half coming up here, but I got a few random boxes on the side. So I opened up 3 boxes for myself. One of the boxes had 3 autos in it, which, I'm not going to complain about that. And then one of my boxes had 2 autos of the same guy. Not one was a parallel version. There are 2 base autos, both the Casey Mize. So as far as the autos go, it's like, all right, that's probably one of the better ones, a rookie Casey Mize auto. But yeah, I mean, I saw this and I was like, well, now I don't feel so bad.
Case number 1 for eBay tonight: Restless Craft Breaker Sports and Gaming. 9 Tyler Stevenson and 7 Dane Dunning autos.
Same case.
Yeah, 16 out of the 20 autos, huh?
So for those that bought into, that's what, White Sox and Reds?
I think Stephenson's red, yeah.
Yeah, congrats, you just hit the lottery.
But you can see there again, those are all base autos. Like not a single one of those is a parallel auto. Is kind of the wacky part in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this just bad collation on part of how the boxes got packed out?
I think this has to do with. I think they probably had production redemption issues, partly explained by the delay of the 3 to 4 months from when it got released. They probably were waiting on a few guys for redemptions, and they came in and someone goofed up and put them all right next to each other when they packed them out.
Can't be any worse than the, National Treasures case a couple of years ago that had all of the 1-of-1 laundry tags.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. I mean, that's a good day. Getting a bunch of, hey, no offense to these 2 guys, but getting a bunch of these autos. I mean, Casey Mize, getting 2 of them, getting an extra auto, right? Because you're supposed to get 2 per box. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So getting a third, and I saw that quite a bit. People, not complaining, but mentioning. Obviously, you're not going to complain about an extra auto, but mentioning that hey, I got an extra one. Saw quite a bit of that. Makes you wonder, because I know like Panini Elite Extra Edition, I think, in the old days had 6 autos, and a lot of those boxes were good for like 7, 8, 9 autos, but never five or 4. So the question is, are there just a lot of extra Stevenson and Dunning and perhaps Mize and other player autos that are being packed out, or is some dude out there getting 0 or 1 autos?
Well, and that's something to be interested in, would be to see some sort of document that Topps produces to say, maybe, for example, Dane Dunning, we got 1,200 cards. He signed for $5, $10, $15, $20, what have you. And, some of the more major names that maybe only signed 10, 15. Is an issue similar, quote unquote issue, similar to 2015, 2016 Diamond Kings, where you would have a relic and either a relic auto or an auto, or just another more nicer relic, but every X amount of boxes you'd get an extra mini relic, just because they're trying to get rid of some of the relics that they had on hand. Is that the case? Are they trying to burn out stickers? Or did someone just get really lucky in horrible collation circa 1993?
Be interesting to see if you yourself have any interesting stories from Gypsy Queen, or see anything in your social media adventures. Let us know, because we definitely like to kind of keep an eye on, see if this was isolated to Andrew in the one box, where you got the same base auto twice, or in this guy's case, where he opened up a whole case and pulled so many of just 2 individuals, again, being just base. Last topic before we go tonight, the NHL's newest franchise, the Seattle Kraken, had their expansion draft tonight. So quick question. You have a new market.
Yep.
You have new fans, at least to the Seattle. Let's first say that the Seattle Krakens have maybe the best mascot now in all of professional sports, definitely in hockey. I mean, Kraken is just badass. But does the market shift on the players selected in the expansion draft now that they're introduced into this new fan base market?
So I would assume that there's definitely going to be some people in Seattle that may not have been the biggest fans of hockey, just because there isn't one really outside of Vancouver with the Canucks that is just for their region. I mean, but them moving into said market, it should be nice to see whether people are picking up Mark Giordano, the ex-Flames captain, long time, or Jimmy Alexiak from Dallas, or Adam Larson, just Yanni Cord. Thank God they didn't select Capo Kakinen, because release the Kakinen would have been a very easy social media push, but they went with a Capitals goalie instead. But yeah, no, I mean, these aren't the top tier guys. The NHL did say that each team was allowed a certain amount of exempt players, usually the top 2 cycles of players were, for the most part, protected by these guys. So we're not talking, super elite players, but they're also not scrubs either. They may be guys that may be great players. They just haven't been given the time or the ice to actually show their worth. Similar to how when Vegas came into the league. So some of those guys kind of banded together and they're everyone's least favorite team, and outside of the NHL, and they've done well for what they picked and what they were given. Going to the Stanley Cup the first year, losing, and being in the playoffs every year since. It'll be interesting to see where they go. Whether they were given as generous a draft stock.
Well, I think a lot of teams. So one of the things that has to be brought up when you mention the Knights is they were given a much more favorable group of players to pick from. The league did not allow the teams to block as many players, so there were a lot more available players to them who were actually a little bit better tier. And then don't forget, this was the first expansion since what, 2007?
Yeah,
something like that. So Vegas was. So a lot of these GMs, and it was also really the first one once they'd been in a big salary cap era. So a lot of GMs did not know what to expect when Vegas was drafted. So Vegas shrewdly made a lot of trades with these teams in saying that we won't draft this guy, but you have to give us a draft pick. Well, a lot of GMs now realize that was a mistake to do that. So Seattle, unfortunately, did not get the benefit of some of these. They didn't have as much leverage as Vegas did. So like Montreal Canadiens, who were basically daring Seattle to take their star goalie who just carried them to the Stanley Cup, and Seattle basically, Seattle could have said, "We're going to draft him unless you trade a draft pick," and Montreal could have said, "Take him, do it, take that $10 million salary,
take Carey Price,
take that $10 million salary." And so they didn't have the leverage that a team like Vegas had. That being said, and then also the GM Ron Francis stated that he was going much after flexibility with his spending. So he definitely didn't take on big name players who had big contracts.
Sure.
I think it's going to allow Seattle to attract some better free agents than Vegas did early on. I think probably of the 30 players that are drafted, probably half of them won't even see the ice for Seattle.
Sure.
Some of them were free agents, and so they were drafted just to fill out a roster. And then some of these are mainly mid-year guys that you don't have many young prospects. Giordano is going to be probably the captain. He's not a Fleury-esque kind of guy, though. He doesn't have that name recognition that Fleury did. He doesn't play one of the sexy positions of goal scorer, winger, or goalie. He's a defenseman, and those are not as to me, their two best players are two defensemen, Giordano and Yarncroc from Nashville, which, they're like the pitchers of baseball cards. They're definitely not as valuable.
The defensive first shortstop.
Yeah, they're definitely not the valuable cards. That being said, some guy could come out of nowhere and produce come out of nowhere like Bill Carlson did his first year for Vegas. He was a 10-goal scorer before he got drafted by Vegas, and he became a 30-35 goal scorer year in, year out. So there will be someone. I'm kind of looking at Jonas Donskoy.
Sure.
Partly as a Sharks fan because he used to be a Shark, but he was always a good third, fourth line guy. And I think if you give him a few more minutes, he has that ability to score goals.
Ex-Avalanche guy, sure.
Yeah, and on a team that might be lacking goals, if you're the one guy who's producing more goals than before, I think he might stand out a bit more.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see.
Correct. The last expansion previously to the Vegas Golden Knights was 2000 with Columbus and Minnesota.
Oh, wow. That long ago. Yeah.
There was a couple name changes. Anaheim dropped the Mighty part of their name, and the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg. But
so those were both pre-salary cap era, so those were completely different expansions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you collect any of the players that are new members of the Seattle Krakens and you see any market shifts that are noticeable, let us know. We'd like to kind of see how this might have impacted different player markets, especially on some of the older players. Sure. Andrew kind of covered, we had a buddy of the show named Sean Pedal Parrot on with us before the show. And he kind of alluded to the same thing. Las Vegas was had a few different built-in advantages. They were more built to compete immediately, where Seattle is looking probably taking a longer 3 to 5 year approach, taking a lot of younger players. So it'll be interesting to see. And, again, you're introducing hockey to a whole new fan base and a whole new state. Presumably there's going to be a lot of new fans that might want to go, chase some cards of some of their newfound players. So if you notice anything, you two, included, since you guys are more hockey guys, let us know.
The Washington, for the most part, really hasn't had a hockey team outside of Vancouver, which I alluded to earlier. But whereas Vegas may have more money to spend just because it is Vegas, it's a bigger arena. It's understandable that they can expect to sign bigger names because of what comes in revenue-wise versus, maybe Seattle starts to break into that Vancouver market, much like the Orioles and the Nationals. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So any final thoughts, boys, before we wrap up the show that is now over the 2 hour mark?
I do have 3 real quick ones. One, you didn't answer Tom's question about why are you the way that you are, Ben?
Oh, yeah, Tom Willis on Twitter. I asked, hey, anybody got questions for tonight? And he's like, why are you the way that you are, using the popular GIF from The Office? And I had decided, you know what? We don't have that kind of time. And we don't have, to quote the old Star Trek, right? I can't do it, Captain. I'm giving it all she's got. We don't have the power.
Scotty Montgomery there. Sure.
Yeah, we
then,
we just don't have. I mean, this is a 2 hour show, not a 10-week show.
And then 2 quick show-offs. So I'm slowly working my way through the all-time home run hitters club. And in this case, I didn't want to get a Minnesota guy. I didn't want to get an Indians guy for Ange. And I wanted to try to avoid the White Sox. So Philadelphia was really about my only choice, and I just happened to luck into the right one at the right time for 2021. Panini Absolute Baseball Tools of the Trade, 47 of 99. 2 pinstripe bat jersey for Jim Tomei, 47 of 99. Really nice card. Really good price. Cost of a blaster. But then also for my birthday, a fellow birthday boy haver here, Mike Schmidt, born September 27th, 1940 something or another. 47, I think.
You don't see much of his cards anymore.
I like the
baby blue jersey.
Like the baby blue. That's a good bat and baby blue relic. Cloth.
2004
relic.
Absolute memorabilia, Tools of the Trade as well. And I have some stuff in the mail, but I'll save those for next week.
Sounds good. Well, happy birthday to you, Steph. Shall we sing you happy birthday?
Yeah, I mean, it's in September, but...
Yeah, we'll sing it anyway.
I mean, it is my mom's birthday next Wednesday, so there is that.
All right. Remember, we are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Follow us on the Twitter and the Instagram at About the Cards. You can follow me at Our Trading Cards. You can follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. Andrew, where can we find you?
Bayside Breakers.
And then you can follow the Tim Shep at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories, great pulls, and send your questions our way. And remember to keep collecting true rookie cards, which are only found in flagship releases.
And for those that want their first taste of Seattle Kraken cards, they are up on ePack as a free pack. So there's that. And have a great week. Great week, everyone. That's it.